Want some new information on Gears of War, the Ultimate Edition? I bet you do, and well, thankfully, I have some for you thanks to Gamespresso, who have some details as well as some comments from Rod Ferguson, who is of course the studio head over at the Coalition. So of course we know quite a bit already about Gears of War Ultimate Edition, including frame rates, resolution, the fact there's going to be some new characters and so on and so forth, but I have even more goodies for you today. So what are they? They're going to be brand new character models and props for all game modes. Split screen co-op will now divide horizontally. Cutscenes have been recreated using motion capture, as well as advanced animation techniques such as skin sliding. New lighting and gas effects. The TACCOM vision filter will now show heavy weapon drop locations in multiplayer. Players can spot enemy players and also self-revive when downed. The weapon selector can also be used when performing a roadie run, allowing you to actually queue up a weapon to be equipped when the roadie run ends, which sounds rather useful. And level progression and XP in multiplayer. So what did Rod Ferguson have to say for himself? Well, he said, quotes, "The fundamentals of Gears haven't changed. All the metrics and mechanics are the same. What Epic created initially has endured over 10 years plus. There's a magic there in what they created, so it wasn't a lot of work on our part to make it better. It was more about finding rough edges and filing them off. That's where there were things Gears of War didn't originally do because they didn't have time or they didn't have the resources." And then he went to talk a little bit about how they discovered what improvements needed to be made by inviting some players to actually test the build, which is probably one of the most efficient ways to do things. You know, you've got people who have spent countless hours with the game and are going to be going over this remaster with a fine-tooth comb, so why not let them? And he said, quote, "About 7 or 8 months ago we brought in a bunch of pro players when the game was very early on, gave them a chance to test out what the game felt like at 60 FPS and also give us much feedback. So yeah, we've been working really closely with them from the beginning to get a sense of what they want and figure out how we take what they remember and improve it. So things like enemy marking, switching weapons, less sticky cover, being able to interrupt a swap turn, all small things, but they make a big difference when you're playing competitively." So it sounds like a lot of their focus has been on the multiplayer scene, which is kind of understandable. The multiplayer scene is probably still going for some of the Gears games, and who can blame people? It's a very solid game overall, even if it's not my particular cup of tea. And of course, the Gears multiplayer got very, very competitive, and I could definitely see a push towards it making it an esport. And so therefore, it makes perfect sense to have lots of focus on that. Now, I hope that they're also paying lots of attention to the single player, but from the sounds of it, for the moment, a lot of the feedback they've been getting, because they're beginning from pro players, has been to do with the multiplayer, but some of that undoubtedly will spill out into the single player, and hopefully they have been having a few people taking a look at that as well, and I'm sure they have. Still, overall, this is sounding very, very promising. Do let me know your thoughts below though, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.